I say to myself, where is the United States doing well? So Russia and China now are unifying and they're getting together. Then you have Iraq, okay? We spend $2 trillion in Iraq, $2 trillion. Think of this number. This number is not even a number that you, honestly, 10 years ago, you didn't hear the word trillion. So we spend $2 trillion, and more importantly, thousands of lives, including lives on the other side, by the way. I mean, okay, some people say, oh, who cares? I care. Okay, destroyed. And what we did is we took this country and so weakened it. You know, it was always Iran and Iraq, and they'd fight. One country would go 2 feet over here, the other country would 2 feet. Then after like 10 years, it'd settle and they'd start all over again. You know, they had some, well, we've destroyed that country. We've destroyed that country. But we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives, tens of thousands of wounded warriors all over the streets, you see them. We can't even call them. They won't even return our call. Because China's buying their oil. China thinks we are truly the dumbest people on earth. China now is buying a big portion of their oil. They're being controlled by Iran, which I said a long time ago. And then when I made the statement, because it looked to me like it was going down the tubes, why don't we take their oil? You know, we are at war. People said, what a terrible thing to say. Now you call Iraq, they won't even take our phone call. Think of it. They won't even take our call. Now, an interesting thing happened in Afghanistan. Nobody knew that Afghanistan has tremendous minerals and tremendous wealth in minerals. I ever thought this was a country that didn't have that, but they have tremendous wealth in minerals. Well, we're fighting over here, and on the other side of the mountain, China is brilliantly, I don't say negatively, they're smart. They're brilliantly taking all the minerals. So we're fighting here, big mountains. We're fighting here. China's taking the minerals on the other side. And I say to myself, how is it possible that we can be so stupid? An interesting thing happened the other day. I'm reading the front page of the New York Times, number one story, number one column, that we can't make a deal with Japan for agriculture. Now think of this. We can't make a deal. Japan will not allow our farmers to put food and sell food in Japan. Hey, I like the Japanese too. I like everybody that buys apartments from Trump, okay? Very interested, but I do. But I respect them. I respect people. You know, the fact that their leaders are much smarter than our leaders, that doesn't make me dislike them. It makes me respect them. So I'm reading this article that Japan won't let us even think about putting our food in Japan. And then I'm looking at boats with millions of cars pouring into this country, tax-free, made in Japan. And I'm saying, who are our negotiators? I mean, if I was negotiating, I'd say, fellas, you're going to take our food and you're going to love it. You're going to love our food. I mean, the food is peanuts compared to what we're talking about, peanuts. So you say to yourself, how is it possible that Japan would have the nerve to say, we're not going to take small potatoes, some farming goods from the United States farmers. It's great product. Everybody admits that. It's not like it's tainted or problems. It's great product, better than what they can do. So they say, we're not taking your product, but by the way, we're selling you millions of cars. Look at the size of these massive car companies. And it's because of the United States. No tax, tax-free. So all you'd have to do if you're sitting down, I guarantee you this, if I was the negotiator for that deal, you'd have so much food pouring into Japan right now, they wouldn't know what to do with it. They wouldn't know what to do with it. So I say to myself, why aren't we smart? We used to be brilliant. We used to be a brilliant country. We're not a brilliant country anymore. We're a foolish country. We're a dumb country. We have leadership that is either something wrong with them, or they're not intelligent, or there's something wrong. Maybe it's lobbyists. You know, I hear the lobbyists are so powerful in Washington. Maybe it's lobbyists. Maybe you have to do something about that, because maybe Japan and maybe the Middle Eastern states. I mean, look at this. I heard a number today that since 1931, we have more oil reserves in this country in terms of storage reserves than we've had since 1931. Think of that. And yet the price is at an all-time high. Now, I went to Wharton, greatest business school in the world, okay? Did I say a good thing? Yes? The Wharton Club, which is a great club. But I went to Wharton, and I will tell you that the very basics of that are that prices come tumbling down. So here we have, and we're buying from OPEC, and we're buying from Saudi Arabia, also great relationships with the people in Saudi Arabia. They cannot believe, by the way, because they're friends of mine, they can't believe how stupid we are. They tell me, hey, Donald, we're getting away with it. What are you? I say, you're right. Saudi Arabia is making, think of this, $1 billion a day. $1 billion a day. So much money, what they're doing there is unbelievable. You look at our airports. You look at your airport here. You look at your airport LaGuardia and Kennedy and Newark and LAX in Los Angeles. They're like third world country airports, falling apart. They have terrazzo floors inside that are so old. And when they fix them, they don't fix them with terrazzo, which would be terrible. Should rip them out, put down a new floor, right? They fix them with asphalt. So you walk in, you got terrazzo that's really tired in the main terminal. And then they put black asphalt from a road, an exterior road. And this is our roads are falling apart. Our bridges are falling apart. In China, they're building 24 bridges, most of which are bigger than the George Washington Bridge. I mean, just massive bridges, massive construction. They're taking our jobs. And we don't even know it. Then the president of China comes over, and we have a state dinner for him, honoring him. What a wonderful guy. And he's laughing all the way back to China. So it's all branding. But when you look at the things that are going on, now in Afghanistan, we're spending tremendous amounts of money. And President Karzai, as you know, our president flew into Afghanistan. And President Karzai, who's getting sacks and sacks of cash, you know, they're getting $50 million in cash. And this is, I mean, green. And I want to know, who is the soldier that's delivering the cash? That's what I want to know. Can you imagine? Do you trust somebody to hand? They're carrying satchels of cash because they're paying off the tribal leaders and the warlords. And it's incredible. 50 million. I want to know, who are these people that are doing this? But Karzai said, I won't meet with the president, and I won't meet him at the plane. So you have the president of the country who spent, I guess we're close to $1 trillion there also, lands. And the president doesn't have the decency to come and pay his respects, even to just shake his hand. And I say to myself, that's very bad branding. Because when you get right down to it, that's what we're talking about. That's pretty bad. It's pretty sad. So you look at Libya, you look at Syria, the line in the sand. Remember the famous line in the sand? And then nothing was done. Not that it should be done, and not that we should be involved, because we shouldn't be involved. But you don't say, we're going to do this or we're going to do that, and don't do, and then they do it. And then you don't follow up. And by the way, I don't want them to follow up, but you should have never made the statement. So we are in very, very serious trouble. And I just ask you, what positive thing has happened to this country in the last 10 years? And that includes Bush. I'm not a Bush fan, believe me. I am no Bush fan. He got us into Iraq. I think Obama should have gotten us out a lot faster. But Bush got us into Iraq. I am no Bush fan, and anybody that knows me knows that. But what's happened good? I mean, can we say that the economy's booming? No. Can we say unemployment? I mean, unemployment's a totally phony number. Massive unemployment all over the place. If you stop looking for a job, they take you off the unemployment rolls like you've got the job. We have massive unemployment. We don't make our products anymore. They're made mostly in China and other countries. Mexico is doing phenomenally well. Phenomenally. That's going to be the new China as far as making products. Look what's going on in Mexico. And you say to yourself, isn't that sad? Isn't that a shame? Now, the good news is we have tremendous potential. Tremendous potential. We have power over China that you wouldn't believe. China sells their product to us, no tax. No tax. And yet they'll manipulate their currency so that our people cannot compete with their product. We make better products than them, by the way. But we can't compete because of the manipulation, which is in the history of the world, there has never been a better or smarter currency manipulation than that done by China. All you have to do is say, folks, it's going to end. It's going to end now. And if it doesn't end, we're going to throw a little tax on you that every product you sell in this country, it's going to be a 25% tax. By the way, the number should be 48% based on their manipulation. but I want to be nice. We will start with 25. You wouldn't even have to do the tax because everything would stop. Same thing with Japan, with the cars. I mean, it's the same thing. It's so simple. But we don't have the right people. I don't know who these people are. Where do they find these people? I assume they're diplomats. They're incompetent. We have incompetent people running the country. Now, Obamacare is having a devastating effect on the country. And, you know, they say whoever becomes president, 2016 is going to be a catastrophic year for the economy. Because, you know, all of the problems of Obamacare and other things were delayed till 2016. Somebody's going to have a real problem. And they better get smart. And the Republicans better get smart because they're going to inherit a mess like has never been inherited before, ever before. So the good news is that we have tremendous potential with proper leadership, tremendous. We can turn it around so fast. We're sitting on energy that's bigger than all of them, almost. We're sitting on massive amounts of dollars coming out of the ground. We don't use that. Even the pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline. The Keystone Pipeline, I don't even care that much about it. I'd say build it because it's jobs and good and all that. But we don't need Canada's oil. We don't need Canada's oil and gas. We don't need anything from anybody. But build it anyway. It's jobs. It's environmentally very good, and it should be built. And it's amazing that it hasn't been built. And Obama's having a hard time with it. And some of the people that don't want it to be built, they're people on Wall Street. I know them. You know why they don't want it to be built? Because they're invested in oil and gas, and they don't want to bring down the price. It's not that they're great environmentalists. Take a look at these people. Look at their right. These people couldn't give a crap about the environment. They're invested heavily in oil and gas. They don't want the competition. And our politicians sit back and they say, oh, wow, he gave a lot of money to the Democratic Party, in this case the Democratic Party, but gave a lot of money to the Democratic Party and we have to be nice to him and others. So it's a very, very sad thing. I would say that I'm very proud of this country, but I would say that if we don't act quickly, it's going to be very, very hard to bring it back. We're very, very far out on a limb. Something has to take place, and it has to take place quickly. Our people have to be taken care of. In order to take care of people, we need wealth. We don't want to cut Social Security. We don't want to cut Medicare or Medicaid. And I'm, different from a lot of Republicans. They keep talking about cutting. I keep saying build the country up so you don't have to worry about Social Security. It's peanuts compared to the kind of numbers you're talking about if we knew what we're doing. We have to take our business back from China and other countries. We have to take it back. And you will see, I said it, winning. It's about winning. We've got to start winning. Not one good, and I searched everything. We haven't had one good story about this country being great for years. And it's about time that we started getting the good stories. And we can do it, but you need proper leadership. And with that, I will take some of these killer questions that I've been viewing, and let's go. Go ahead, Myron. Thank you. Thank you very
much. Yeah. I already had one note saying, why are we showing Mr. Trump the questions in advance? We don't show Mr. Trump the questions in advance. He was sitting next to our chair of the Speakers Committee, Jerry Zaremski, who was trying to organize the cards. So we'll ask the questions, and I know that Mr. Trump can't wait to answer them. Let's go right into politics. You have flirted, I think that's the right word, you have flirted several times with a possible run for the presidency. Why have you never run?
Well, I didn't flirt. People who were asking me to run, they wanted me to run for a lot of things, including governor. I said no, 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 and I kept saying no, no, no. They wanted me to run for governor of New York. I never wanted to do it. I said it would, and finally I just said I'm not doing it. But I didn't flirt. People wanted me to run. We're going to see what happens in 2016. We're going to see what happens. I want to see what's going on. This country is in serious trouble, and I'm going to see what's going on. But I didn't flirt. And I think I probably, during the speech, cleared it up pretty much. I love what I'm doing. I would rather do what I'm doing than do that. But I also love more than what I'm doing and more than virtually anything else other than family, which includes my beautiful Ivanka, who's here. I mean, I love this country. I love this country. And I hate to see what's happening. And if I don't see the right person, I will do something in 2016. I will do it as sure as you're sitting here. Thank you.